sit myself here.
Okay.
Try not to move anything.
I don't know if they can see us.
Hi.
Does that make it better?
Not really. But now I'm going to sit here. It's not cutting my head off, so it shouldn't cut yours off.
Okay. Let's see. Hold on, wait. I don't know how to tell. Okay, we have 3 people on right now. Hi, guys. Sorry it took us so long to get set up. We are now broadcasting from my phone because my computer apparently will not.
We literally had technical difficulties.
We are not tech savvy, so. Woo!
We're here. No.
Woosah.
No.
That was crazy. Okay, so I'm Nicole.
I'm Cristie.
And we are partners and owners, founders of MB3 Nature's Chemistry. It's a plant-based product line, and our first 3 products are plant
Protein bars.
protein bars.
They're protein bars.
Okay, so we wanted to do, and there's like a lot of misconceptions about plant-based, vegan, vegetarian, especially when it comes to building muscle. So we wanted to do a quick little video kind of comparing, contrasting.
The plant-based and animal-based proteins.
Right, and then kind of discuss why we decided to
Go with plant-based.
Right, go with plant-based. So, can you guys hear us? Can someone just let me know if you guys can hear us?
Yeah, we're using a different way.
Wait, I don't know how to access the comments. Hi Christina. Cool. Okay.
So you can see.
Yeah, you can see. You just have to turn it. So it's going to be a little informal, but next time we're going to be more prepared.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so protein is the macronutrient of building and repair. It's a very important part of every diet. And there are incomplete sources of protein and there are complete sources of protein.
It basically deals with whether there's amino acids, essential and non-essential, and your body produces.
12, 17. Let me grade that up.
9 are the.
9 are essential, right?
So there's 21 in total. I guess 12.
When you consume protein, your body breaks it down, and there are amino acids, and there are 22 total, or 21. 21 total amino acids. And there are ones called essential and then non-essential. And non-essential, your body can actually make from other components that you've eaten or just things in your body. And then there are essential amino acids, which means that you must obtain those amino acids from your diet. Right.
So that leads us to which proteins are, I guess, complete proteins. So we're going to talk about, I guess we're going to start with animal ones first.
We're going to start with the animals. For all you meat eaters.
Exactly. So the first one is whey. It's the most common. It's sourced from milk. It's the byproduct of when you basically turn milk into cheese. It bakes well. It tastes good.
Yeah.
It's very. Most of the studies are done on whey because this was, I guess, the
most common. And if most of you guys have gone into a protein a supplement store and you've purchased a protein, 9 out of 10 of you have purchased a whey protein. It's the most common. They have all the best flavors. It mixes the best. It tastes the best. How they make it taste the best because they put a lot of them have like artificial flavors and stuff in them. It's quickly absorbed by the body, and whey is a form of complete protein. So it contains all of the amino acids that you need to make up.
But
hit it. What are the negatives?
It is sourced from milk. So a lot of people are lactose intolerant or just find it very difficult to digest dairy, period.
Right.
So
I remember when I first started drinking protein and getting into fitness, everyone would talk about protein farts. And it was like a thing, like, protein shakes, protein farts, and like guys and their protein farts, but like that's because there is some sort of intolerance, some sort of inflammation going on in the gut that's causing this, the gas to form in the stomach. So it's not
for everyone.
Right, it's not for everyone. If you have intolerances to dairy or you're sensitive to it, you want to stay away from whey. Another negative
Oh, the hormones. The animals that they're typically using, not 100% of the time, of course, are not grass-fed or not organic. So then you're being exposed to more hormones in your snacks when a lot of the time you're picking up something you eat on the street, more than likely.
Right. It's. I mean, you guys. I'm sure most of you guys have heard about the conditions that the animals are raised in, for our foods. And this is not like one of those animal advocates talks. It's just the facts. These animals are given hormones and antibiotics and raised
Just
in
so
very
they can
stressful
grow more
situations.
faster, and it's
Right.
cheaper.
Right.
So
those have negative effects on the body, and those hormones stay in the cows. And then when they, I always say this on the tour. Why can't a mother who's breastfeeding have alcohol? And it's because it ends up coming through the milk. It's the same concept with any cow and the byproduct of the milk. If they're being pumped full of hormones, the milk is going to be pumped full of hormones, and then
we're eating them.
So yeah, we're eating them, we're ingesting them. So if you do end up getting whey protein, you want to go with ones that are sourced from grass-fed cows.
And there are two other popular animal-based proteins. It's casein and egg. Casein is pretty similar to whey. It's a different process, but it's also sourced from milk. Just digests a little slower. It's more expensive. But again, if you have an allergy or an intolerance to dairy, it's probably not for you. You're going to get a lot of inflammation, bloating.
Casein is the one that a lot of people say, oh, drink at night because it digests slower in the body. Cristie also brought up a good point earlier when we were going over this topic, that it's also really good for people who, of course, don't have intolerances but have like very unsatiable appetites. If you have a crazy appetite, you're always hungry, this is a good option for you. It's called casein, but it is also sourced from milk.
And then there's egg.
Egg protein!
So that's when they separate the yolks and the egg whites, they dehydrate the egg whites, and we get a very expensive protein source.
Right.
From egg whites. That's nutrient dense, but again, allergies.
And
my nephew that's 2 years old cannot have eggs.
Sad. That's like one of the things I really, really miss from being plant-based is eggs. Every once in a while I do have eggs, but always when you have eggs, you want to make sure that they're pasture raised. And because just like the beef, these chickens are fed, grain and kept in little pens and pumped full of antibiotics and what was it that you said that they were estrogen, to produce more eggs. So those eggs then end up being imbalanced as well, and we consume them. So, and then another thing that's really good about casein and egg is the fact that they're both complete proteins. I don't know if we touched on that. They're both complete proteins. Okay, so that is animal, and now we're gonna go to plant protein
sources.
Yes, and there are a lot of misconceptions. People think that if you are a vegan, if you are vegetarian, if you only eat plant-based, like I get the question all the time, oh, you're plant-based, where do you get your protein from? There are plant protein typically is not complete. So the 9 essential amino acids that you need to get from your diet, you can't get it, for most part, you can't get it from one source when you're doing plant-based. But if you learn how to combine properly, which we're going to get into, if you learn how to combine properly, you can end up eating complete proteins. You just have to be educated and kind of know what you're doing when it comes to that. So go ahead first, protein.
So the first one, which is the most popular plant-based protein, is soy. It's basically made from, dehydrating soybeans and grinding them up and drying them. It is a complete protein.
It is the only one that's a complete protein, right?
It's a good source, and it's inexpensive because we made it inexpensive.
Right.
It's very heavily, that whole GMO that you see that all over the place, it's very genetically modified. I think we were reading on...
Yeah, we went on the USDA.gov, which is the government's website, and it said that in 1996, only about 5% of the soy grown in this country was GMO, genetically modified. Now today, it's almost 100%, and it's because soy has become a filler in pretty much all packaged foods.
To increase the protein content as well.
To increase protein content, and it also has become a preservative. But genetically
Emulsifier.
modifies.
It
Yeah.
does a lot of things. So
Genetically modified means that they go into whatever it is, the organism, and they change it at the gene level. And that's pretty significant considering that if someone changed you at the gene level, you may not have the same color eyes, you may not have the same, digestive process or the same number of fingers.
Our
Yes.
genetic defects are
Right,
basically,
right.
that's what they are.
So we're changing the genetic makeup of soy, and because of that, GMO soy has been linked to tons of health problems. All the estrogen stuff that you guys hear about is because of GMO soy, not organically grown soy. Organically grown soy is actually good for estrogen balance, ironically. So if you do soy, always organic, non-GMO. Yes.
So next, I guess we'll go with rice protein.
We have 3 comments. Hold on. I just want to make sure
check
everyone
out the
can hear us. Yeah, I just want to. Okay, cool. Let us know if you guys have questions too. We're gonna be answering questions at the end. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Take it away.
So rice protein, it's treated with an enzyme. There is rice in protein. It's a very small amount. When you read your bag, it's got 1 or 2 grams in a serving. So that gets separated from the carbohydrate with some enzymes, and you get a pretty high concentration of protein at the end. It is easily digestible. It is hypoallergenic. That's why it's so easily digestible, because there's no inflammation going on. There is a downfall, because like we were just mentioning, a lot of plant-based proteins and plant-based diets are lacking somewhere, but if you combine stuff, it aids and assists in that department.
Right.
Rice protein in particular is low in lysine. There's 9 essential amino acids. It's low in 1.
It's low in. It doesn't have. It's not.
Like void.
Right.
So it's an incomplete protein, sort of, but not really.
Right. So what you would kind of have to do in your diet, if because like I drink rice protein, brown rice protein, a brand called Growing Naturals. It's a really good brown rice isolate. What I would need to do on a daily basis is just consume foods that are relatively high in lysine, so that I make up for the lack of that amino acid. Okay.
And a way you could do that would be pea protein. We did use that in one of our bars. We'll talk about that later. But pea protein is high in lysine, but it is low in 2 of the other essential amino acids. It's made from the yellow spit pea. It's also hypoallergenic. It's plant-based. It's similar to rice protein, but it is lower in a protein concentration. So we're going to, I guess, move on to our last protein source that's plant-based, which is hemp. I personally have never tasted it. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
She says it tastes like earth.
It does. It's very, very earthy. I mean, all of the plant-based protein, if you've had animal protein, it like constitutes in water like very easily. It like turns almost like a milkshake. I mean, it's most of it's derived from milk, but plant protein is like there's like separation. So it is something that you just have to be prepared for and like open to, I guess you could say. I now adore my brown rice protein. I think it's more filling because of like the more just the fiber and like the thicker texture, I guess you could say. But hemp I have found is like the most earthy of them all.
I'm gonna try and figure out a way to make it taste better.
Yeah, she's gonna put on her scientist cap and figure it out. But I've spoken to people and some people say they love it, that it's like their favorite. And actually a really cool thing that people are doing now, a lot of brands are doing, it, just like we did with our iron bar, we combined brown rice protein and some pea protein. A lot of people are combining hemp, pea, and brown so that it's more of like a complete protein, and it also has a ton of nutrients.
It's kind of almost considered a superfood. It's really nutrient dense.
It is.
It has a ton of fatty acids. I mean, that's why I was like, oh my god, what does this taste like? It looks so awesome for you. But
like when something's good for you and it tastes bad, but you just eat it because you know it's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but we have to figure out how to make it taste good.
Next week, or I'll try and taste it before next week. I'll give you my opinion.
Yeah.
It is really expensive because it's made from the cannabis plant, which is illegal in most states, so it can't be grown.
I know some of you guys are feeling that fact.
Yeah. It can't be grown.
It's made from the cannabis plant? I need that shit!
Yeah. So those are our plant-based.
Yeah, and okay, so one thing that we have written down here is that one of the pros of every single plant-based is that it's hypoallergenic. And then one of the cons of every single animal is that it produces allergies. So it's just something for you guys to think about if you are sensitive to a lot of foods, or if you have intolerances that you haven't quite figured out.
Yeah. It's an easy fix. You know?
It is an easy fix. It's like sometimes it's like right under your nose and you just don't even realize it. But taking out dairy products or even GMO soy or corn products makes a big difference.
So why we chose, MB3 chose plant-based? Oh yeah, let's answer your question.
Do you guys have any questions about anything that we talked about?
Can you see them? Can you see the question?
No, we don't have any questions. People are just saying hi.
Oh, hi.
Okay.
So MB3, we have, like we mentioned earlier, 3 protein bars. One blends the rice protein and pea protein, which is our iron. It's a vanilla almond flavor bar. The other 2 are basically the protein source is brown rice protein. Mm-hmm. So we chose plant-based proteins because, I know I gotta shut that off. We chose plant-based proteins, like, Jesus Christ, because...
Stand by!
Yeah.
Note to self.
Turn your fucking phone off. Because, well, you know, we were talking about hormones, less exposure to hormones in your food. I mean, small choices like having snacks that are plant-based, that are not full and pumped with hormones, I think is a great idea, and it's a good start.
Right.
To kind of decrease your exposure to that.
People ask me all the time, how do you go plant-based? How did you go plant-based? It's so hard.
Slowly.
You don't, and I tell people, you don't even need to go fully plant-based.
I'm not, yeah, I just I eat my organic and grass-fed animal, like I feel like we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And then I try to incorporate as much plant-based food as I can.
Right, and that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Right, that makes a difference. I mean, if you look at, there's like crazy statistics, and just like the amount of water that it takes to produce a small amount of beef. Because cows are supposed to be grass-fed, but you know, in conventional, as they're mass-produced, they're fed grain. And to grow all the grain, it takes a ton of water, and then to feed the cows and to keep them alive, it takes a ton of water. And then once they kill the cow, get the beef, that entire process, I read somewhere that 2.2 pounds of beef, 2.2 pounds of beef,
really not that much,
takes 75,000 liters of water to produce from cow to, or from grain, I should say, to dinner table. 75,000 liters.
Impressive. It's a lot of people don't realize it because we see water all the time. We don't realize how much of a
commodity it is, right? And how some people in the world just don't have enough, or even like places in the United States. Like last time that I was in LA, there was a water shortage, and they were telling people 5-minute showers, but like you can go to the restaurant and everyone still has steak on the menu, you know. So like just making those small little changes, like switching your whey protein to a plant protein, switching your whey protein bar to a plant-based protein bar,
or eating just less protein. I mean that's off the subject, but you don't need to eat 8 ounces of beef.
Right, 3 to 4 suffice, right, for most of us.
So I guess we didn't really say why, but we kind of explained why. Mm-hmm. It's basically better for the environment. It's more sustainable.
Sustainable.
That's our word.
Sustainable
lately.
It is.
Yes. So and it's less exposure. What?
No, I'm just checking who's here.
A lot of people.
Hi to you, those of you who just got here.
A lot of people, I guess, kind of claim or feel that a plant-based diet, and in this case, we started off with plant-based bars, are not equivalent. So how do you get enough protein in your diet? These bars are comparable in macros to bars that, you know, are considered, I don't want to name brands, you know, very, very popular protein bars, you're over 17 grams of protein.
Right.
Really, at the end of the day, what exactly are you looking for? You don't need 40 grams of protein.
Right. You don't need 40 grams of protein. And this is our iron protein bar
you
has.
Two of them if you're really that tall or
Right.
that muscular.
Right. Or your metabolism is that kicking. Our bars are also very high in fiber, and there's no preservatives, which is really great. And most of the ingredients are organically sourced.
Our shelf life is about 4 months because we're not using a lot of preservatives, but I feel like
We have no preservatives right now.
Yeah, none. Other than naturally, like some foods just.
Oh yeah, preserve naturally.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Fats are nut. Our bar has a lot of a nut-based cashew. Depending on which bar it is, nuts help preserve fats and sugars. Natural sugars. So I mean, I think we kind of touched on why we chose plant-based.
Yeah.
And what the differences between plant and animal-based are. And we are really, really sorry that we started so late.
Hold on, wait. I think people are.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, sorry guys. How can you... Voting on carbs. Okay, so is Thighs how you pronounce your name? Thighs? Thais? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, she asked, how do you stay fit on a plant-based diet without overloading on carbs? So that's one of the things that I struggle with on a daily basis, and why, if you're gonna go plant-based, you need to do your research first. Because pretty much everything, unless you're doing like something that like a brown rice isolate, everything that's plant-based is either a carb or a fat. For example, nuts have protein, but they are also extremely high in fat. Grains have protein, they're also extremely high in carbs and fiber, so you have to kind of educate yourself and match things properly, and also incorporate
vegetables. I feel like that's key.
What?
When someone's trying to, I've come across a lot of people who want to follow a plant-based diet that they only focus on like what you're just talking about, like the fats, the nuts, the grains, the legumes.
Right.
Those things have really high levels of energy sources, fats and carbs. Greens don't, so you could get a lot, I guess, a bang for your buck. Like you're full if you have 3 cups of spinach along with your half a cup of quinoa and your half a cup of our garbanzo beans. Yeah,
and another thing to note is that there's a lot of vegetables that are high in amino acids that don't necessarily have tons of protein, like grams of protein, but that have amino acids.
Broccoli, I think, has.
Yeah, broccoli has protein. I think spinach has some high in amino acids that you can incorporate to get complete sources of protein. So just do some research. Well, actually, I think that's a really good thing. MB3, we're gonna post something that has like high sources of protein for plant-based eaters. Did that answer your question? It's Thais. That's so pretty. Okay.
So I think the timing, I mean, I know this is it's a pretty specific question, but the timing of the things that...
Okay, she said, I'm so sorry. She said, there was a second part to her question that I missed. I have been a vegan for a few months, and I also have hyperthyroid, but I can't seem to get a full intake of protein.
Well, I mean, I guess you...
Are you taking iodine?
Sometimes you can't. I think it depends on your medication.
Oh, I don't know if she's on meds.
So, I think the timing, like we were just saying, like grains and legumes are pretty, like let's say in a cup of beans, there's 40 grams of carbs, 7 grams of protein. So, I mean, maybe eating 2 or 3 cups of that is maybe not what you would want to do if you're trying to get lean. I would say quantities, of the same way that people who are not plant-based focus on the quantities and how they combine them. It's the same thing. Maybe increasing the amount of greens that's less caloric as far as like fat and carbs go, and really nutrient dense, and really measuring the amount of, let's say, grains or fats. I would keep it to, I don't know, it's hard to say because it always depends on your size.
Right.
But a quarter cup of nuts is like max. Like, do not go beyond that.
Right. I would definitely get some sort of plant-based
cups.
protein. Yeah.
And plant-based protein.
Plant-based proteins. There's also there's a brand called Tolerant, and it's a red lentil pasta, and it's literally the only ingredient. I snap about it sometimes because it's awesome. Like one serving or 3 ounces has, I think, 48 carbs, which is, you know, high, but the fiber is super, super high. Like most of it's fiber, and I think 23 grams of protein. This is pretty awesome split, you know. Also, there's something called mung bean pasta. It's mung and soybean pasta. I think 19 grams of protein, 11 carbs. You can find them on Amazon or like Whole Foods,
and
Publix,
the same
I think.
principle that you would follow, I guess, with an animal-based diet towards the end of the day. Like maybe do things that are 50, 60 grams of carbs, if you're female, you know, if you're relatively small, earlier in the day or around your workouts. And then later in the day when you're less active, maybe using more the fats and those and incorporating more the fatty acids and that kind of a protein because you're more satiated, you're going to bed. I think it's similar, it's just you need to play around, especially if you have hypothyroidism.
Right, and I think, I mean, you don't want to, like, stop eating.
No, of course
you know, you don't want to, like, cut. Because I know one thing that I learned when I went plant-based is because when you're eating meat, everything is more calorically dense. When you go plant-based and you're eating a lot more vegetables, you need a lot more volume to reach the same amount of calories that you would need if you were on an animal-based diet.
Unless you're eating 5 pounds of nuts.
Right, but then you're too high in fat, you know? So I would just say you listen to your body. Like, you don't want to starve yourself. You can't compare volume. You can't compare, like, say, you know, I'm sitting and, like, this is the plate full of food that an animal-based person would eat. You can't eyeball it and say that my plant-based plate should look exactly the same, because if you're eating a lot of vegetables, they're just so low in calories, you know? So you just don't want to, like, shoot your metabolism down even
But they're
more.
really, really high in micronutrition.
Right. I'm saying she
Yeah.
shouldn't, like, cut. She should
course,
eat a lot.
yeah.
She should be eating a lot. Yeah, I learned I had to eat a lot more is my point. When I went plant-based, I was used to eating a certain amount, and, like, I feel like I'm always eating. Jesus Christ. If you guys like to eat, plant-based is the fucking way to go.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's see if there's any more questions. I hope that helped you. Okay, I take no supplements at the moment. I'm trying to go all natural. Okay, so iodine. I went to a doctor who specializes in preventative medicine, and she particularly hormonal imbalance, like getting people hormonally balanced, natural way with diet, exercise, and whole food supplements. And one of the things that she told me is iodine is something that will help to boost your T4, T3, whatever. You should ask your doctor and see, if you can take that.
And it depends on which one you're low in, because right now it's not coming to me. But sometimes it's...
Well, but T4 turns into T3 or something like that. So they're all, like...
Yeah, but
related.
sometimes it's not a good idea.
Okay, so iodine, ask your doctor.
Yeah.
Because my doctor is natural, and she recommended I take it.
Because there's a thyroid out there that's not
I gotta stop
iodine
doing that.
based. I just can't remember what's in it at the moment.
Okay. Christina says, what about beans? They turn into carbs, right?
They are carbs. They are a protein-rich carb. Like, let's say, like I mentioned earlier, 1 cup of most types of beans contain about 40 grams of carbohydrates and 7 grams of protein. That's, well, you know how carbs and proteins are what makes up calories. So that's the calories in beans are mostly made up of carbohydrates.
Right.
So yes, the timing of when you eat these things, like I was thinking around your workouts earlier in the day versus eating 1 to 2 cups of carbs at night. If you're just going to directly go to sleep, I would maybe go with fats. Like more greens and fats or seeds or nutritional yeast or, you know, I mean, there's a million options, I think. Not to say, I don't mean early like 12 noon, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, most of us go to sleep pretty late. But I don't think you not...
Like right before
you
bed,
need
you're
carbs,
saying.
I guess is what I'm trying to
You
say.
need carbs and
Not 100 grams in a sitting most of the time. We're not that active.
Right. there's a lot of fiber in beans as well, which
You count calories a little differently with fiber.
And-
I think it's like 1.2 calories or something.
and your body can't. It really fibers kind of goes through the digestive tract, and your body doesn't access it for fuel. Carbohydrate is the macronutrient of energy, so your body breaks down carbs and they turn to glucose, and then your cells access that glucose for energy. Fiber is different in the fact that it just moves things in your digestive tract. You know, it's like bulk.
So yes,
Right?
but some of it, like let's say
Like
8
insoluble,
grams out of the 40 are fiber. Those 8 grams you would multiply. There's a formula that you could take out some of the carbs. I think it's instead of being 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate, the ones that are fiber you would only use like 1 to 2 calories. So it is a little, when something's high in fiber, your body uses a lot less of it as energy and
Right.
more so as bulk.
And beans are so good for you. Beans
Yeah.
are so good for you. Beans, the magical fruit. Ain't you ever heard it? The more you eat, the more you do.
Some people have issues digesting them, but I think it's more the skin, and you can always try to puree them. Or
Right, or sprout them. If you put your beans in water and you sprout them before you cook them, it starts to break down the hull, I guess.
It's digested a little bit for
Right,
you.
right. So that your body can more easily absorb them. So that's a really good tip. Okay, so someone asked, is your app going to help people with the foods, with what foods are helpful for people who are trying to go plant-based? Okay, so one thing that I want to do, which I haven't even talked to Cristie about yet, but we're going to talk about it now. One thing that I want to do is something called Meatless Mondays. And I just want to start raising awareness about the plant-based lifestyle and show people that you don't need to go fully plant-based. You can make these changes and make a huge difference in yourself and in your environment, the way you feel connected to like the earth. Because I know it sounds crazy, and like people who are vegan like sound like they're all-knowing, yeah, and like above other people, but like you really do feel enlightened in a sense when you learn all these things about the environment and how you can make such an impact. So that's one thing that I want to start doing, and to do that, I feel like we're going to need to provide some sort of
ideas,
guide, right, recipes, how to get all your protein sources in the proper way, complete proteins, and how not to go over carbs and fats. So that's something, yeah, that I definitely want to start.
Maybe we could come up with like
some recipe ideas.
Yeah, some recipes, dinner ideas, like some things that are better for lunch, some things that are better for dinner, things that
Right.
are great for breakfast that include all different types of
Right.
macros.
So definitely,
yes.
Maria, that's something that it's probably not going to be in the app right now. Is just going to be workouts, and then eventually we're going to get into like macros and all that stuff. There will hopefully be like a macro calculator and all that stuff very soon.
Since we're gonna try to do these live streams, I guess on Tuesdays, we can, I guess maybe do one on a general way to set it up.
For the Meatless Mondays. Actually, maybe that's what we should discuss next time is Meatless Monday, and you guys can give us your ideas on some, like, I guess, give us insight to what you find difficult or daunting about going plant-based, and then we can kind of build our recommendations and like the I guess meal plan, if you will, based on that.
Yeah.
So, does anyone have any more questions? Does anyone have any more questions? Or anything you want to talk about, Cristie?
No, I think we kind of hit everything that we were, trying to discuss.
Okay.
Because even what you just talked about right now, about next week, we can even talk about, since the bars are our first product, how they can be incorporated in a plant-based diet as well. I think that might be a good idea.
You're getting quieter and quieter.
I know, I think I need coffee.
We need coffee and a protein bar.
And maybe food.
And maybe
Sustenance. It's because we haven't really done that.
Okay, so if no one has any more questions, we just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. So sorry about it taking so long for us to get this thing going and set up. Next week, we're definitely going to be more prepared. Let us know if you guys liked it, if any other topics you guys want to see in the future. And we created a coupon for you guys who tuned in. It's live 5. Is it capital?
No,
Okay, live 5, just the number.
5.
So LIVE 5. It's for $5 off any of the products on our site.
For a week.
We have the Coco Goji, the I'm in love with the Coco shirt. It's super cute. But Coco is spelled like cocoa. Not like cocoa.
And you could use oh my god, I just a Snapchat, so I had like flour all over my nose. It was so funny. But
you can also use it for any of the bars. We have the sustainability box, which comes with 6 Coco Goji bars and 6 vanilla almond bars.
Which are our 2 favorite flavors.
Yep.
So,
all right, ladies and gentlemen,
our
first live stream
on plant versus animal source proteins. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Wait, Pilar. Hi, Pilar. I thought about going plant-based, but what I find difficult is measuring what's right for my body. I'm not sure what's confusing me more, counting macros, which I don't know, or going plant-based. Okay, so Pilar, you have to come to the tour this year because we're going to be going over, it's called the 1, 2, 3 of counting macros. Counting macros is a science. Actually, we could definitely do a topic about that too.
Why we chose the macros that we chose for the bars too.
Right.
Because that would kind of make sense.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Okay, so the whole why I like counting macros, okay, every single person is different. What works for me does not work for Cristie. Cristie, her body works well on high fat. When I have high fat, it literally, right? Didn't you tell me that your body works well with high fat? I need high protein, high carb, low fat. That's what works for me. Chabelis, one of the other Fit and Thick instructors and the customer service rep, she needs low protein, high carb, I think. So everyone is different. But what I like about counting macros is that it takes one method and one calculation and it applies it to everyone and their individualities and their lifestyles, and you test it. Right. So it
So you know what's good for you.
Right. It teaches you how to be in tune with yourself. So when you're eating a specific macro breakdown, it's right for you and your lifestyle. If you still don't feel right, that means that something there is not right for you specifically. So you would either cut the protein a little, drink a little more water. If you're eating more protein than you're used to eating, you need to be consuming a lot more water because protein digestion takes a lot of water. But it's honestly, Pilar, it's like a trial and error. And I know that sucks because a lot of people in the fitness health industry will give you like a set diet that works for everyone and tell you this is what you need to do. It doesn't exist. It really does not exist. And you have to kind of test it and figure out what specifically works for you and your body type. And then Thais have one more question. Thais, wait, did I say that right? Thais, yeah. Okay, sorry.
I can't see it, but
also not a question, but I am a yoga teacher based in Miami. I would like to work out with you guys. I'm opening a yoga studio and would love to have your products. Okay, that is so awesome. Cool. Definitely. You can email us at info. Let me write it. info@MB3 Nature's Chemistry. Did I write that right? Chemistry. Yeah, you can email us and we'll definitely get that linked up. Thanks so much. I would love to come do a yoga session with you.
I definitely need it.
Okay, cool. So we'll set it up. Thanks. Paula says, yes, let's do a talk about macros, please. Got it. We will do that. We will do that. And also the tour, Fit and Thick Tour, 2016, 2017. What city you live in, Paula? What city are you in, darling?
No city.
No, I think it takes a minute for them to, for it to go through. But yeah, if you're in one of the cities that we're going to, we'd love to see you there. DC. Okay, DC! What the fuck? We're coming in a couple months. Cool. So then I'll meet you then. Oh, hell yeah. I'm already going to be on tour. Birthday gift for myself. Cool, Pilar. Can't wait to see you again. I've met you before, right? If I'm not mistaken. Okay, ladies, well, and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming and tuning in. We will see you next week. Same time, but actually at 11:30 next week.
Next week.
All right, guys, bye.
Bye.